What is good and what is up, y'all? It's your boy here, Jay, back and better than ever with another episode of Thunder Banter. The Thunder are on a roll, winning 9 straight after their dub against the Orlando Magic, 113 to 108. Just continuing to put the pieces together and get healthy right at the right time. Let's get right into it, all right here on Thunder Banter. And that is now 9 straight dubs for the Oklahoma City Thunder. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Thunder Banter. The Thunder are on an absolute tear and doing what they do best, playing defense and turning the ball over and making sure that they get points off of those turnovers. And the chemistry is flowing at the perfect time, getting healthy at the perfect time, hopefully getting dubbed back soon. But playing the basketball that we know the Thunder can play and playing it at the right time, at the perfect time, right before the playoffs, right around the corner. Only 2 weeks away from playoffs, guys. 13 games left in the season. Can't believe that I am saying that and uttering those words, but the season has flown by and we are here now on a 9 game winning streak and hoping to continue this trend after such a great homestand, winning all of those games on our homestand and starting a great road stand in Orlando, getting that dub 113 to 108 and just continuing to play the right way. Let's get right into it. And that is, like I said, 9 straight dubs for the Oklahoma City Thunder as the Thunder went ahead and took down the Orlando Magic 113 to 108. Thunder starting their 5 game road trip with a W, capped off a great 4 game homestand last Sunday with 4 straight Ws versus all contending teams versus playoffs for the playoffs, rather, all still without our guy, Dub. Last week, Shai also sealed the record. Congratulations to Shai. I think this is one of the records that doesn't get talked about enough for most consecutive games with 20 plus points, topping the great Wilt Chamberlain and the 126 game record that he set years ago. And doing that in the modern era, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, guys. I don't think that we're paying enough homage to what Shai Gilgis Alexander is really doing, not only in the modern era, but right before our eyes. I think that we're kind of downplaying a lot of what's going on because of the fact that he has this narrative of being foul baiting, and there's been just way worse examples of foul bait and what you want to call it, but that's not even part of his game. I think that if you really truly watch what he does, it's just jazz. It's just smooth jazz, guys. I mean, I can't say enough about how this guy plays the game. It's one of one. And I hope that people start to come into fruition about how great he is as a player and why all the other peers that he is playing with are saying that he will go down as one of the greatest of all time. Now, I'm not getting ahead of myself by this because of the fact that the stats are backing this up. Not only as the MVP and not only winning the championship and hoping that he gets another one under his belt, I think once he does that, he really will solidify himself as one of the greatest point guards of all time already, just by what he is doing. 128 games now already with 20 plus points, guys. It's just not normal. And I think that we need to pay homage to it and really pay attention to what is happening before our eyes. Yes, there's the LeBron James of the world that's going on, and that is also absolutely ridiculous in what he is doing at age 41. But we also need to understand that what Shai Gilgeous Alexander is doing isn't normal. And a lot of the haters out there, I think, are coming into fruition about how great of a stat this is. I mean, think about it. 20 plus points every single game that you're going out there. And I mean, man, just can't say enough. Congratulations to Shai and continuing to do what MVPs do and hoping that he continues to do what he does in this uniform of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And there will be a statue outside of our arena one day with him in the MVP trophy. So let's get right into it of how we got to this point. 9 straight W's, but obviously the past games that we, haven't covered, whether it was the Warriors, Nuggets, Celtics, Timberwolves, and obviously last night against the Magic. Let's get into it. The Warriors, Thunder started the homestand taking on the Warriors without Curry still as they are trying to hang on for playoff spot, but looking for the bare minimum to find a play-in spot. but the short-handed Warriors still have fight as the Thunder found a way late 104-97 as Shai led scoring with 27, 5, and 5, being one of three Thunder players in double figures, with Joe with 18 and Kenrick Williams with 13. Thunder were also shorthanded with no Chet or J Dub managed as truthfully everyone also almost scored around 10 points to be able to uplift the team. So honestly, although there weren't a lot of double figures across the board in this Warriors game, we had a lot of players almost scoring 10 points, which if we can manage to do that, everyone scoring 10 points, I honestly think that's a stretch, when you don't have specific players on the court. But if everybody can manage to, get a couple buckets, it is going to be dangerous, especially in the playoffs if we can manage to get our bench going in that direction. The Thunder were able to shoot 42% from the field to the Golden State Warriors 41%, and while being out rebounded and even though having more turnovers than forced, the Thunder managed to find a way to win this game versus the Draymond Green and Brandon Podds led Warriors. Now on to the Nuggets game. The Thunder would face off against their arch nemesis in the Denver Nuggets, as we always have our popcorn ready for the matchup, and it did not disappoint as SGA hits a game winner, guys. Another one, and captures the W and the win late 129-126. SGA and Joker went back and forth in an MVP battle to really see who deserves it more. SGA actually had two step-back threes to seal the game and showed the worth with only 4 free throws taken in this game, as he had 35, 9, and 15 with no turnovers. Not to mention the fact that he went on and to break the record in this game. It just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. But 2 step-back threes to go ahead and seal the game. Went ahead and only had 4 free throws. A lot of people having the foul baiting, only 4 free throws in a 35, 9, and 15 game with no turnovers. The only other person to have that stat line in NBA history is LeBron James in 2018 with the Cleveland Cavaliers. SGA continues to put himself in a class of elites. Elites. OKC as a team shot 51% from the field and 40% from 3, but were out-rebounded 56-37 as they had no Chet or Hart. Only 3 turnovers on the game for OKC. Unreal. Forcing 7 turnovers with the fully healthy Nuggets squad, who managed to almost pull it off late. Aaron Gordon also has a game, and Jokic with a triple-double, but it was not enough as the Thunder moved to 4-0 against the Nuggets this season. But absolutely unreal. With the game winner that he had, you can't say enough about the MVP performances that he has had, and after the whole argument all year long about whether it was Joker, whether it was SGA, because of the fact that Joker's putting up this stat line and it hasn't been done before, in the efficiency and yada yada, and the triple doubles, and obviously Shai's doing his thing. But now it was settled in this game alone. Not only 4-0 against the Nuggets this season, but going ahead and having 35, 9, and 15 with no turnovers and a game-winning 3. Matter of fact, had 2 game-winning 3s. Can't say enough. Joker goes in the locker room, starts talking about how, it's incredibly impressive what Shai is doing, tying the record that night, not breaking the record that night. I apologize. But either way, you get the point, and what he has been doing, unreal. Moving on to the next game, the Celtics. The Thunder then hosted the Celtics, as the Celtics have been having themselves a season, but no Tatum. The Thunder took advantage and got the W 104-102 in a back and forth game again. SGA once again led all scorers, 35, 6, 9, and 3 blocks, 2 steals, 13 of 18 from the field, while the only 2 other people or other players in double figures were Chet in his return and AJ Mitchell. 14 and 15. Thunder shot 48% from the field and only 25% from three, 11 of 44, and out rebounded as well as every other category was pretty evenly matched between the teams. SGA managed to pull one out of his back pocket late once again, as Jaylen Brown also had himself a game 34, 6 and 7, but had 6 turnovers, which costed the Celtics in this game. Pritchard also had 14, but the Celtics shot 40% from the field and 13 of 42 from three. The Thunder would go on and snag their 7th straight dub and 3rd straight at home after SGA hits another one. Guys. I mean, it's unreal. Unreal, guys. Now on to the Timberwolves, as the Thunder would take on the Timberwolves for the last game of the homestand and prevail, going ahead and winning 116 to 103. And it was a back and forth game, but then the Thunder would take over early in the fourth quarter, as they would go ahead, like I said, and win that game 116 to 103. Randall would lead all scorers as he would drop 37 and 6, getting back into his fold, as the Timberwolves, with a fully healthy Randall, are legit, guys. I know that they don't really have, a lot of promise about them because of what had happened lately, though. I typed this up a couple days ago, but now the recent news about, obviously, Anthony Edwards, it's going to be hard for the Timberwolves to manage to hold their spot in this really competitive West. SGA would barely, and I mean barely, scrape away with 20, as he dropped 6 points in the last 3 minutes to be able to get to 20, hitting a 3 and a step back fade and one on Anthony Edwards with time going down. And it was an MVP moment once again for Shai, as you felt like, well, he's not going to get 20 points this game. No, check that. Let me get an and one on Anthony Edwards when time winding down, and I'm going to go ahead and continue my streak. OKC shot 42% from the field and 38% from three, with Chet and Hart back in the lineup, but still no dub. Chet had 21, 9, and 2, and Joe had 20 off the bench, 4 for 8 from three, and Jared McCain 15, 5 for 9 from three, with Caruso as well with 17 off the bench. A total of 61 bench points for the Thunder this game. Can we get that in the playoffs, guys? 61 bench points obviously is not going to come every night, but managing to get that bench production that, like I was talking about earlier, if everybody can shoot for at least getting 5 points off the bench, I feel like we are going to be solid going forward. Obviously, depending on what the ball dominance is, at the end of the day, I think that we're going to play very team-oriented basketball. People are going to hone in on Shai, especially in the playoff, and we're going to have to go ahead and play some team chemistry basketball. And I think everyone shooting for 5 points is going to pay dividends in the run. But 61 bench points for the Thunder. If we, like I said, get that production from the bench, a repeat is near. Ant-Man had 19, 6, and 5, and 16 of 17 shooting. But Dosunmu had 17 off the bench with 5 3-pointers, just absolutely lining it up. I wanted to make sure that I pronounced his name right. But DiVincenzo also had 4 threes, but all for naught, as the Wolves shot 42% from the field and had 30 less shots and 22 turnovers, guys, as the Thunder had 16 steals. Reasons why the Thunder are the best team in the NBA and best defense because of these categories. Always look to out rebounded by 2, but it doesn't matter as long as the Thunder get the W and also make up for it in the other categories. I know we're getting out rebounded still, but at the end of the day, we still need to make up for it. I love how the Thunder are pushing the pace lately with the turnovers, especially with 22 versus the Timberwolves and 29 points off those turnovers versus the Timberwolves, but also managing to stay consistent with the guys off the bench. I love the Dags rotation, and not to mention how Hart and McCain have been getting acclimated in the second group. It could be a recipe for success later on in the playoffs. But let's move on to the last game before we move on to the rest of this week. The Magic, the Thunder would go ahead and capture the W in Orlando, 113 to 108, now making it 9 straight Ws for the Thunder. SGA dropped 40 as he had another 20-point night. 129 games or 128 games, I believe, with 45 and 2 and 4 steals. Chet also had 20, 12, and 1, and AJ getting the start. Now back with 16, 2, and 3. Kaysen and Jalen Williams both had 9 and 8 off the bench, and Jay Will also had 6 rebounds and 2 assists. OKC shot 44% from the field and 31% from 3, but held the Magic to 40% from the field and 34% from 3 with 12 turnovers. But to be honest, I don't like how OKC lost this lead last night. We were up 45-27 at one point in the game and proceeded to lose this lead, then come back and we just need to do a better job at making sure we get another basket or two to not lose the lead completely up 18. It just doesn't make sense that we lose that. But at the end, overall, came back and comfortably so to be able to win 9 straight against the Orlando Magic, a playoff team in the East. So that is great. Now let's get into the standings, guys, before we hop off here. But, guys, we got only 13 games left. We are only 3 games ahead of the San Antonio Spurs right now, so we need to continue to, push till the end and see where we are at the end of the day. Because I know that the San Antonio Spurs are not going to let up. But right now, let's look at the standings. Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously, we're at the top, 3 games ahead of the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs are in the 2 spot, 3 games back. The Lakers slide into the 10 spot, but now are 7.5 games back. Guys, that is a large gap between 2 and 3. 7.5 game difference between the 2 and 3 spot. And now the Lakers are making separation between the 3 and 4 spot, as now the Lakers are a game and a half above the Houston Rockets, who are now 12 games back. Now we move on to the 5 spot as the Denver Nuggets are 12 games back as well. 6 spot, Minnesota Timberwolves are also 12 games back, but all different records. I'm sure the Denver Nuggets own the tiebreaker over the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Houston Rockets have less wins and losses than the Denver Nuggets do, so that is why the Rockets are in the 4th spot right now, but all 12 games back, so we'll see where the Rockets land, we'll see where the Denver Nuggets land, and Minnesota Timberwolves. But right behind them, 3 games back of all of those teams, are the Phoenix Suns at 39 and 30 at the 7th spot. The Phoenix Suns are really in no man's land, 3 games back of the 6th spot, and 4.5 games ahead of the 8th spot. So you see the Phoenix Suns right there in the middle between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Clippers. They're really going to be the 7th spot unless they make a move here within the next 5 games. So we'll see what happens with the Suns if they're going to go ahead and do that. They might go ahead and make a move since the Minnesota Timberwolves just lost Anthony Edwards for a couple weeks. So we'll see what happens with that. We might see the Phoenix Suns move up to the 6. We might see the Denver Nuggets move up to the 4. But at the 8 are the Los Angeles Clippers at 19.5 games back. They're a game ahead of the Golden State Warriors in the 9 spot. And in the 10 spot, in the last spot of the play-in, is the Portland Trail Blazers, obviously. And they are 9 games ahead of the Memphis Grizzlies. So that's really the playoffs this year for the Western Conference. It's pretty much set in stone in that sense. I don't see the Portland Trail Blazers giving up a 9-game lead to the Memphis Grizzlies for a play-in spot. But you never know what happens. There's 13 games left. Anything can happen. You could lose all 13 games, and it could very well happen. It's the NBA, guys. But that is the standings as it stands right now. But next week, we got all road games still, and we are going to go ahead and face off against the Nets, Wizards, 76ers, and the Celtics before coming back home. But all winnable matchups, and time to get rest for some great playoff basketball. What can I say? Only 13 games left, guys. Making sure that we get rest, we get healthy right before the playoffs, and get Dub back. Dub needs to get acclimated, and hoping that we can manage to get everybody just playing time right before the playoffs, guys. Hopefully. Still only 3 games above San Antonio, so we can't be too comfortable, but sitting in a pretty spot right now, and I want our guys to be healthy for the playoffs. But in the end, we need to continue to push till the end to see where we land. But that is a wrap of Thunder Banter. I appreciate you guys tuning in for me in this episode of Thunder Banter. 13 games left, guys. We're going to continue to have our eyes glued on the TV and the standings and see what happens until April. That is a wrap. We out.